Hi, welcome to the Telium Challenge series. Today we're going to be looking at how you can deploy web analytics at scale using Telium IQ. Before we do that, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Ben Kennedy and I'm a solutions consultant at Telium. So web analytics is an essential part of your technology stack, and it's going to provide you with rich insights into what's happening across all of your digital properties. Imagine for a moment though that we're a company with multiple websites and multiple brands, and potentially you've got separate implementations of web analytics to support each of those brands and geographies that you work in. Now, managing all of that data in each of those web analytics implementations can quickly become a really time-consuming and costly business. Ideally, you want to be able to manage all of those deployments across all of those regions from a central place and ensure that your data is going to be flowing into the correct web analytics environment. So luckily for you, if your organization's deployed Telium IQ, the best-in-class tag management solution, you can achieve all of that with ease. So let's take a look at how we can do it. The Telium solution uses a couple of neat features to make the deployment of web analytics easier to manage. First, we're going to make use of something called a library, which is basically a standard configuration that you can apply to all of your regions and brands. Second, we're going to use something called a data layer as the basis for all web analytics deployments. The data layer are all the data points coming from your website and mobile app that you want to pass to your web analytics vendor to create reports on. Third, we're going to use something called a lookup table to dynamically pass the right credentials for each web analytics environment for each of your regions and brands. And by doing this, it means that we can have a single tag deployment and not multiple tags for each region or brand environment of web analytics. So let's have a look at the demo for these four options. So this is Telium IQ and I'm logged in as an administrator. My first task is to take a look at the profiles and libraries that we've got set up. So as you can see here, we've got three profiles: France, Germany and UK. So we're maintaining three separate regional implementations for all of our vendors in one place, in one single place here. And above that, we've got something called a library. Now, as I said previously, the library is a way of having a standard configuration for a vendor, in this case Web Analytics, that we can link to each of these three profiles so that we have a standard way of implementing Web Analytics across all of our regional deployments. So we're going to be working within this library now, and we're just going to check a few things out. First of all, we're going to look at our data layer. So this is our standard data layer, our standard way of defining and capturing data across all three of those regional implementations. And this is the data that we're going to be sending into Web Analytics that it's going to be able to build reports on. So things like page ID, order subtotal, page category, and so on. So we're going to use that data in a number of ways. First of all, we're going to build an extension based on it, and our extension is going to look at the country in our data layer and determine the correct Google account number, Google Analytics account number based on the country. So in the case of the UK, we're going to have this as the account number. In the case of Germany, we're going to have this as the account number, and so on. And it's really a simple process. If we wanted to add more regions, if we expanded, we could just simply add a new row to this extension and put in the new account number here. So think of extensions as a way of manipulating or using the data layer in a point-and-click interface without having to write any JavaScript code. And the reason why we have that lookup table is so that we can have a single tag in our deployment that we can reuse across all of our regions. So here's our tag for Google Analytics. We're going to leave the tracking ID blank. We're going to populate that later. But this is where you would set up any of your configurations for your Google Analytics tag. We're then going to decide when we want that tag to fire. So in this case, we want to always fire it on every single page because we want to track what's going on every page. And then we're going to map the data from our data layer into different placeholders within Google Analytics. So page name is getting sent to this dimension within Google Analytics. Page category is getting sent here, and so on. And coming back to that extension that we looked at earlier, what we're going to do here is we're going to pass the Google Analytics account ID, which is listed right here, into this destination within Google Analytics. Okay. So we've mapped all these different data points, including the Google Analytics account ID that's going to be dynamically populated based on our extension. And the final task is to just link those profiles with the library. So this configuration is now done, and we want to link that same configuration to Germany, UK, and France. So we just simply hit that button, and that configuration will then be inherited by the France implementation, the Germany implementation, and the UK implementation. And it's just a simple case of hitting save and publish, and then selecting the environment where we want to publish to, and we're all set. So as you can imagine, there are many other features that we can use to help deploy web analytics at scale in your organization, and I wanted to quickly call out a few others here for reference. First of all, extensions. So we used one extension there, which was the lookup table, to dynamically pass the account ID in to the Google Analytics tag. But obviously there are way more extensions that we can use to make reporting consistent across regions. So things like being able to lowercase all of your data in your data layer to make it consistent so you're not cross-reporting and so on. We also have a lot of governance and access right controls to ensure that everything is done consistently and with the proper permissions in place across your deployment. We also make it easy for you to deploy different web analytics vendors across different regions. By having this standard data layer, you can either migrate between two vendors with ease, or even just use two separate vendors in different regions. And today we talked a lot about the tag management, client-side deployment of a web analytics tag, but we also have the ability to deploy the data into your web analytics vendor on the server side. So we call this cloud delivery, and this obviously helps improve site performance because you're not sending that data through the browser, you're sending it through the Tealium servers to your vendor. So with that, I'd just like to thank you for watching, and if you have any other challenges that you'd like us to help solve or want to check out more videos in this series, then please go to tealium.com/challenge. Thanks for watching.